Welcome back to Harmony Within. And if you're watching on YouTube, The Aligned Woman, I'm your host, Lisa. Each week, we explore the Aligned Woman method, focusing on the intersection of strength, movement, and intentional living. We're moving past perfection to find the rhythm that works for your unique life. Blending science-backed movement with a mindful, grounded approach to your body, mind, and soul. Over the last few weeks, we've covered how to move, how to fuel, and how to listen to your signals your nervous system is giving you. But today, we're diving into the fourth pillar of the Aligned Woman method, recovery. If you are someone that thinks of rest as an afterthought or a reward you only get after you've completely exhausted yourself, I want you to listen closely today, because recovery isn't the absence of work. It's the true foundation of growth. Recovery is the true foundation of growth. I want to talk about something that I've struggled with for a really long time, and I know so many of you do too. For years, I told myself a lie. I told myself that resting meant I was being lazy, and I had this deeply ingrained belief that if I was sitting still, if I wasn't moving, sweating, or checking things off of a list, I was unproductive. We live in a culture that glorifies the grind. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. We think that doing more, pushing harder, and sleeping less is the only way to prove our worth or reach our goals. We think that doing more, pushing harder, and sleeping less is the only way to prove our worth or reach our goals. Where did we pick that up at? Where did we get that idea? That our value is tied to how much we deplete ourselves? Because when you look at it through the lens of biology, that mindset is actually working against everything we want to achieve. Growth doesn't happen while we're pushing. Growth happens in the space after the push. Growth happens after the push. So you learn this the hard way. I didn't learn it by reading a textbook. I learned it because my body literally forced me to stop. So there was a season in my life where I refused to slow down. I was pushing through every signal, ignoring the whispers of my body until they became screams. How did my body react to the lack of recovery? It didn't reward me for my hard work. It fought back. I hit a wall of actual illness. I started dealing with deep, nagging pain in my back. And eventually, my body just said, no more, and completely shut down. I lost my voice. I literally needed to just not do anything. Like it wasn't terrifying. Like it wasn't a disease. It wasn't, something catastrophic, right? But it was still eye-opening. It was very tough for somebody who has two speeds, go and crash, to literally have to just stop and do nothing for longer than what she's used to doing. And that's when I realized that my refusal to rest wasn't making me stronger, it was breaking me down. When you give your body time to recover, when you don't give your body time to recover, you're not building resilience. You're borrowing energy that you don't have, and eventually the bank calls in the debt. That is why recovery has to be treated as an active, sacred part of training process. It's the bridge between the work you put in and the results you actually want to see. So we have to understand what is actually happening like beneath the surface when we give ourselves permission to recover. So first, it's our tissues. When we exercise, we create micro tears in our muscles. This is normal. That is part of getting stronger. But your muscles don't repair themselves while you're lifting the weight or doing the movement. They repair themselves when you're resting. If you never stop breaking them down, they never get the chance to rebuild. Second, our hormones. When we live in a constant state of go mode without recovery, our stress hormones stay elevated. That chronic spike blocks our body's ability to balance its systems, managing energy or changing body composition. Recovery is what brings your hormones back into a state of harmony. And third, our spirit. There's a mental and emotional fatigue that comes from nonstop grinding. Rest gives your mind the space to exhale. It's where we get our clarity, our creativity, and our joy back. So what does recovery actually look like in practice? So for me, it had to change completely, like from how I used to live. So before I realized recovery was so important, I was working out 7 days a week. Some days, because I teach fitness classes, was multiple workouts in one day. So now, recovery for me now means days where I don't work out at all. So instead of working out 7 days a week, I work out 5 days a week. I take Saturday and Sunday completely off from working out. Now, when I say completely off from working out, that means any heavy lifting, like I don't do strength training. I may do a little bit of yoga just to stretch out my body. I will definitely do some mobility uh, things, some mobility workout, go for a walk, something like that. It's an active recovery, but it's not a recovery that keeps my body stressed. So there's no resistance training at all. It's um, mobility, walking, um, and actually sometimes, like I said, no workout at all. Nothing. I don't, not even yoga. It just depends on, it's more about listening to my body and what my body feels like it needs at that moment. So again, recovery for me is either not working out, it means intentional mobility work to keep my joints feeling good, taking walks outside just to clear my head and breathe in some fresh air. And the other thing, and honestly, I'm still working on this one because sleep is so, so important. But like a lot of you, maybe turning off my brain at night is a practice. Like I have, but I've learned to honor it. Like I've learned that protecting my downtime is a luxury. It's kind of more of like a discipline. It's me telling my body that I respect it. I try really hard to prioritize sleep. There are some days it's easier than others, but it is a it is a practice that you just have to keep working with. So you need to prioritize that sleep just as much as the recovery itself. That's part of it. Okay, so if you take anything away from today, I want it to be this. Stop treating rest like a punishment or a sign of weakness. Treat it as the sacred, non-negotiable tool that it is. Give your tissues, your hormones, and your spirit the space they need to heal. We have now covered how to move, how to fuel, how to listen, and how to recover. But how do we tie all of this together so it becomes a permanent way of life? Well, join me next week as we dive into our fifth and final pillar of the Aligned Woman Method. Until then, breathe, move with intention, and take care of yourself. Oh, and this is not a normal thing for my hair. It's a theme that we're doing at work, and so I'm playing the part. Today happens to be Tropical Tuesday, so this will not be an everyday occurrence. Just a side note there.